Season 2, Episode 10, Secret of My Excess. For this episode, the focus turns to Spike. I'm Count Lurchalot, and this is Lukewarm Television. The episode starts with Twilight reshelving the books in her library, but is interrupted by a laughing Spike. Turns out, he's laughing at his birthday present to himself. A fire ruby, and as you all know, Spike loves gems a lot. He's even been aging it to ensure it's ripe. I didn't know gems worked like that, but okay. Also, didn't we have a birthday last episode? What do I care? After the opening credits, Rarity comes in for a visit and quickly spots Spike's fire ruby, which of course she greatly admires. Seeing how much Rarity loves the ruby, Spike of course decides to give it to her. Rarity is very grateful for this. She's so grateful that she even gives Spike a kiss, to which he declares he'll never wash this cheek again. A week later, just before Spike's birthday, it's revealed he's kept that promise and hasn't washed his cheek. You're more dedicated than I am, Spike. I've both shook hands with and been hugged by celebrities I've met, and I have since washed both my hands and my clothes. Twilight, however, is grossed out by this and is determined to clean Spike's cheek. This leads to a quick and funny scene of Spike trying to run away. However, after Pinky suddenly appears and distracts Spike, Twilight is victorious. The rest of the main cast then appear and present Spike with a present each. This surprises him, as he usually only gets one present a year, a book from Twilight, ungrateful brat. As usual, they proceed to have a fun party, and it's seen Spike is overly grateful for his gifts, so much so that he's starting to embarrass the others. Pinky then advises Spike to leave, as her employers/landlords, the Cakes, have made a special surprise for him. Upon arriving at Sugar Cube Corner, the Cakes reveal they have made a sapphire muffin just for him. How did they make this? I have so many questions! While walking back to Twilight's library, Spike runs into Miss Cheerilee, who upon hearing it's Spike's birthday, gifts him a hat. Then Spike starts to realize that the more ponies who realize it's his birthday, the more presents he gets. He uses this to get more presents. He first cons a cult called Lickety Split out of his ball. Also, fun fact, this pony shares their name with a mare from Gen 1, who was a major character in the 1986 movie. Thankfully, Twilight manages to stop Spike from conning flowers out of a man named Junebug, and although it appears Spike has seen the error of his ways, he quickly goes back to trying to get more presents and appears to have gone greedy. The next morning, Twilight is horrified to not only see Spike sleeping in a nest of gifts he received, but has also grown a lot overnight. Twilight tries to ask Spike how this could have happened, but he's constantly distracted by the objects around Twilight's home. He grabs a few and adds them to his collection. His voice also deepens. One could argue that's just puberty, but I don't think it happens that quickly.
My arms aren't usually this long either.
Concerned, Twilight takes him to the doctor. Unfortunately, the doctor doesn't know anything about dragons, so the doctor suggests Twilight takes him to a vet. One could argue, wouldn't all doctors in this world technically be vets? I've had the same thought while watching Bluey with my nephews, but I guess it changes from world to world. They'd probably make the same argument for us. Unfortunately, the vet can't help either, as she's never treated a dragon. During this time, you'll also notice Spike is acting differently. Then Twilight takes him to Zakura, actually wondering if this should have been the first place they went, and Zakura explains he's simply maturing, but Twilight feels this doesn't explain the grabbing. Zakura then states that dragons are prone to greed, which makes their growth speed up, and the bigger they get, the hungrier they get. If Spike continues to collect, he'll continue to grow and turn into a monster. Zakura says the only cure is to stop him from practicing greed. Unfortunately, by the time Zakura explains this, Spike has taken everything she owns. I cracked up when this happened. Twilight rushes back to Ponyville and finds Spike trying to steal Scootaloo's scooter. Thankfully, Twilight distracts him with a broom, but his greed makes him grow even bigger. She manages to lead him back to the library and lock him in another room. Unfortunately, Spike grows even bigger and he escapes. I feel so sorry for Twilight here. Spike proceeds to steal all the apples and leaves off Applejack's trees. Applejack and Twilight then try to capture him, but they fail miserably. Then, along with Rainbow Dash, they head to Fluttershy after they hear screaming. They find her up a tree because remember, she's afraid of dragons. You'd think after staring one into submission she'd be over that, but whatever. Anyway, Spike stole her chicken coop. He tries to steal from Pinky next, and she tries to fight him off with cake. I love you, Pinky, but that's awful ammunition, as I would just eat that. Spike soon just takes all the cake and grows larger than Sugar Cube Corner. You know, considering the size of other dragons they've met, they should have known this would happen eventually. I'd say Spike goes to steal from Rarity next, but he literally just steals her entirely. All of Ponyville is alerted, that is until Spike steals the alarm. Either way, Ponyville is in panic, and I think Spike has turned into Godzilla. Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy arrive to help Rarity, and both have different methods of verbal assault. Rainbow Dash is being harsh, and Fluttershy being more polite. Repeat, you've already stared a dragon into submission, Fluttershy. Just do that again. I guess she just doesn't have her inner strength this time. Eventually, Spike swats them both out of the air using both his tail and the cape Rarity's wearing. The Wonderbolts then appear to help, and like the last time they tried to help, they fail miserably. This leads to Rarity being the one to talk a dragon into submission, but it's only because she's upset over what Spike did to the cape. I know she loves fashion, but she's more angry over this than the safety of two of her closest friends. Anyway, this leads to Spike seeing the fire ruby, and Rarity not realizing that she's being held captive by Spike refuses to let him have it, as it was given to her by Spike, who she calls the sweetest, most generous dragon ever. This helps Spike come back to his senses as he remembers the cringe scene from before. Spike then reverts to normal and they start falling after a small delay. For those who are wondering why Spike doesn't have wings despite being a dragon, that's a question that will be answered much later and will add even more questions for me. Thankfully, Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy, with the help of Rarity's cape, head to the rescue. Spike then tries to confess his crush to Rarity, just in case they don't make it, but she stops him before he can. I'm guessing this is supposed to insinuate that she knows. Anyway, they are thankfully saved before they hit the ground. Despite feeling guilt over his actions, Rarity admits she's proud of Spike for coming to his senses and stopping himself from destroying Ponyville. She even gives him another kiss. As the one who learnt a lesson this episode, Spike writes his letter to the princess. He learnt that while it's good to receive gifts, it feels even better to give gifts to someone you care about. It's better to give than to receive. As the episode ends, we see Spike is trying to preserve this kiss as well. You're gross, Spike. Aside from the cringe scenes, I really enjoyed this episode because, in addition to having good humor, I liked its message of not being greedy and how we sometimes get so caught up in getting things that we forget to give back. I'm just glad Spike learned his lesson, even if it was in a real cringe way. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next review.